So I'm going to just leave you for 1 minute with the presentation about Elia and 50 Hertz within the Elia group, so you have an idea about our sector before I begin speaking about XR within our sector. Enjoy. So my name is Maissaa Rharrab. It's a little bit difficult to pronounce, so. Here I'm going to introduce the XR within the energy sector and especially within the Elia group. I'll begin actually with a question that you might ask yourself, which is why actually XR within the energy sector? Why XR within an environment that is known to be very conservative with very strict rules? Knowing that, conservative and also foreign concepts don't go well together. But before answering the why, I want to go through some conceptualization and some contextualization of our sector. We have two main preoccupations within the energy sector and within the Elia group specifically, which are the safety of our people. So this is the foremost preoccupation that we have, the safety of our people everywhere, anytime, in any circumstances. And while doing so, we need to keep the lights on, because if we have a blackout, a lot of people will be actually angry and a lot of people will be out of jobs. So we really need to keep those two principles in place at all times. And to do that, we have field experts that we rely on, that have enough expertise and actually the right expertise to be able to intervene in the field. And we gather data continuously to be able to intervene in case of incident and also to prevent incident even from happening. But due to the evolution of the market, due to the energy demand that is getting higher and higher as we speak, and also the renewable energy demand also, we are needing more data. We need more visibility in the field. We need to be more, have more consciousness about what is currently happening in the field and what will be happening also in the future. So meaning that we are faced with some main challenges to be able to achieve that. Some of them are the costliness about the technical assistance that we have to provide. Just to give you an idea, if we want to send someone offshore, because we have offshore stations, we need to transport them into a helicopter. And that actually is quite costly. And every time there is a technical assistance that is needed, then you have to get them by helicopter to the offshore substation due to the weather conditions in Belgium and also in Germany. We don't have a lot of visibility actually on what's really happening in the field when there is an incident. So we cannot intervene in a correct way. We have the SCADA system and everything, but we don't have visibility. So we don't know what is really happening. And the third one is that despite our drastic security measures, we cannot prevent everything from happening because we are humans, we're not perfect, and there are human errors that happen, and the sites are dangerous. We're talking about whole high voltage transmission and transportation. So to be able to mitigate those main challenges, we we're actually faced with many solutions in the market. One of them being actually just having a superhuman. So that can be completely stress-free, born expert, can fly because they need to be there right away, can be 24/7 flexible, is perfectly calm in dangerous situations and predictable situations, and can be focused on all times. That is not possible. Of course, we're talking about superhumans. So we were thinking about more concrete solutions, for example, robotics, AI, IoT, drones, you name it. But they were only part of the solution. They were not the complete solution. And that's where we came to the conclusion that we would need actually VR and AR, not only for assistance, but also for training. And that's where I come to the why XR in the energy sector, because the XR, meaning VR, AR, mixed reality, we can actually test ideas, stress test ideas and situations without having to be in the field. We can actually make some changes and adaptations without changing the infrastructure itself also, just testing it, testing ideas. We can combine the physical and virtual world by enriching actually what we are seeing with digital information. So for all those reasons, it seemed as a good idea to actually start investigating more and more about the XR capabilities. We started slow. We started really slow by implementing a web VR interface where you could navigate through some certain sites that we have within the Elia group, where people can actually visit the sites without being in them, but that was very much the precursor of our explorations. And then we were like, okay, let's go further. Let's implement something that is more groundbreaking or that will be more disturbing for the people that are working within Elia. And that's where we came to implementing a VR scenario within a real substation. So this is actually a 3D model of a real substation that we have. And here you can see a map, for example, where you can actually navigate through that substation, and a menu where you have a switching process, switching off and on process to go through to be able to execute the switching node procedure that we have. It's a very basic scenario, but still it actually gave a view to the people that are working in our enterprise what VR could be used for. And here you can see that there is a test mode, a training mode. Testing, of course, test mode is to be able to just see and explore the solution. And training mode is literally influenced by a process that we have already in Elia that is done physically. And here it's done completely virtually. What we got as a feedback is that it's really good and all, but we have to be able to integrate catastrophic scenarios, because that's where it hurts. When we have people going in the field and they are already prepared because they received the basic training, but they didn't receive a training for catastrophic scenarios that they will meet once or twice in their professional life. So that's what we are working on integrating right now, really to complete the whole scope for the training. The second one that I'm going to show you is related to the AR side. Because, as I told you, we have these offshore guys that need assistance, and each time they need assistance, we have to send someone by boat or by helicopter. So it's quite expensive, it's not ideal, and if the weather conditions don't permit it, they don't receive any assistance, and they have to stay there until we have a solution. So I'm going to show you a demonstration of the usage of AR for remote assistance between onshore and offshore. So, yeah.
The reason I'm calling is we got an alarm on the SCADA system, on the HVAC.
So what you can see here is literally offshore. They are in the middle of the sea, and we have a connection between the two operators. This one being onshore and the other one being offshore. So they have a specific issue that appeared in the SCADA system, but they don't have any visibility. So the operator is calling the foreman to see what is happening in the substation itself. And he's saying as he goes what he's actually doing. So he's saying, okay, I'm gonna go to this place to see and to check the display if there's anything wrong. And then the operator is observing with him while he's doing this operation. Of course, he's also indicating to him what to do, what to check, because the operator has the expertise. And here he's sharing the screen to show to the foreman what is he actually seeing, so he can intervene properly. So this is another example that was implemented as is in production as we speak right now. So operational speaking, if any operator wants a VR to be transmitted to a foreman in the offshore station, they just ask for it and we provide it, and everything is linked within our internal network. It took some time, by the way. The HoloLens setup is not easy, as you might know, and the integration itself is not easy either. So it took us some time to get this in the internal network due to the security that is surrounding us, but we achieved it at the end. The last example that I'm going to show you is the most complex, but also the most encompassing one, that is combining robotics with VR. So we're like, okay, we have this AR assistance, we have also the VR training, but what can we do to go further? What can we do to really make sure that the operator and the foreman are not endangered when we have an incident? What can be done? And that's where we come to this example. This is a prototype, just to be clear. We have purchased a spot from Boston Dynamics to be able to do some investigations and inspections on sites that are remote. But again, it requires to use the software that is provided by Boston Dynamics or the Scout from Boston Dynamics, and it's not ideal in utilization. So we thought about finding something like where we could really have the full feedback from the robot and also be able to steer it remotely. And that's where we had the idea to combine the VR headsets with the robotic part or the spot. And here you can see two facets. One is to be able to remotely control the robot, and the other one is to be able to see what's around. Why? Because we don't want people to get dizzy. Because if you are steering the robot and then you look to the right or look to the left, you will get the robot hit against something. So that's why we wanted to separate those two environments, to have one that has the 360 view, where you can collect data, get the data directly from the field, and get also the feedback from the people that are in the field, and the other one where you can steer the robot. This is based on a study that we did internally with the businesses themselves. So they were the ones coming forward with the use cases to be able to autonomously do the inspections on site when we have an incident, do the also prevention of incidents from happening. So we literally go with the robot around the post and see, okay, is there anything happening? Is there any incident? Is there any leakage to be reported? And then it is reported towards this platform. And the third use case was because we had a legal obligation where we have to have someone on site and someone on the other side when we want to switch off and on the grid. So in this way, we could have actually a robot instead of someone to be able to assist into the switching, because most of the time they don't have to do anything on site. They just have to see, okay, you actually shut off the circuit breaker, good, you did that, you did this, okay, everything is all right, and it's working. So the remote controlling is working. And that's where the robot can intervene also. And the fourth layer is about being able to document what we are seeing in the field. We have a big problem in the industry overall, is that the structures are quite old. We are talking about an investment that we make in the beginning of 30 years, 50 years. So when we come to the end or I would say the end of the functioning of the asset, we have to replace it, but it doesn't come that quickly. So we're talking about a long-term implementation, a long-term installation that might receive some notifications in the meantime, which are not documented most of the time. So the fourth layer is really being able to document what is happening in the field and be able to do this 3D scope and 360 view of what is in the field. For that, we are combining the 360 camera that is shown here on the robot with the LiDAR from Leica to be able to have both views and also to create a digital twin after some time to interact with it, combined with IoT and combined with the robot. So it's a full view, end-to-end, that we are looking to implement to be able to have a view and to, how to say it, to have a contingency against the main challenges that were mentioned earlier. So voila. And that's the end. Any questions? Please.
Very nice presentation, thank you. I wanted to ask you about the status of the initiative. Is this something that you are on a pilot phase, or you are rolling out?
No. The last one, the last one.
The whole three initiatives.
Yeah. So the first one that I've shown is in production. The second one, same thing, and the third one, same thing. But the last one that I'm showing is a prototype right now. So we are implementing it as we go to be able not only to have this virtual environment, but also to implement a layer of artificial intelligence to recognize what we are seeing automatically without having someone, an operator, to intervene, actually to recognize the object. So yeah, it is in a prototype phase, but we are quite transparent about what we're producing because we are not the producers, basically, we're not a competition for the AR and VR constructors.
Exactly. And the first two initiatives, the remote assistance and the virtual training, are covering the whole installations or all the procedures that you are capable of bringing to VR or AR, or?
So the training is concerning a certain scope. We are enriching it as we go because the evangelization takes time. So we're evangelizing by sector, so by section on our side. And the example that was shown is concerning one procedure. And then we actually enrich this VR training by having other procedures as we go. But it will never be complete because it is a continuous progress and continuous implementation of different scenarios that are present and might be present in the future. For the remote assistance, that one is already in production, and whenever there is a need of an AR headset, it is just asked to IT and then delivered, basically, and it's already within the infrastructure, so there is no need to do any personal support. It's by batch support. You're welcome.
I had a question here.
Yeah.
With the Spot Robot initiative, what was the advantage of creating, like you're starting to create a virtual reality digital twin of the facility? But with the Spot Robot, you mentioned you had the 360 camera. Am I
Yeah, indeed.
What was the advantage of doing the virtual reality versus just using the camera on that system?
So the problem was that with the tablet that we had with Spot, it was limited, and also the functionalities and the usage was not that advanced. So we could not use the camera or the tablet to be able to collect all the data that we needed, to be able to be user-friendly also for the users of the robot, and to be able to integrate all the layers within this tablet. Because as I said, it's just the beginning, and we need to implement AI, and we want to implement also other layers to be able to recognize our material and our assets. So it was necessary to implement this to have a complete view, but also immerse the people that are working in the field in the same way that they are working currently. So to not have too much of a transformation and more reliability on the process of inspection and intervention also. Just one point that I wanted to add, there is an arm that is to be added to the robot. And there we already discussed with our partner that it can be remotely controlled also by the operator through VR. So when we are going to implement the arm, you can also control it by the VR. So that's also an advantage because you cannot do it easily with the remote either. Okay.
Well, if there's not a question, let me ask one real quick.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, I mean, large enterprise, these are really innovative ideas and great projects. How do you make the introduction to other leadership within the corporation and get the budget for moving forward on these type of projects? They're pretty vastly different, and the need's pretty apparent, but it's,
Yeah.
It seems like a tough sales cycle.
Yeah, it is. Because in the beginning, when they see things like that, they're like, okay, it's a toy. I'm not gonna purchase it. What is the need behind it? How will we be using it? So first, we need to evangelize the different ideas that we are proposing. That goes without saying. But also, demos are really, really important. Whenever they see the different, let's say, different robotics solutions or the different VR and AR solutions, when they try it out, that's where they change their mind. Because as long as they are seeing just a video of it, they cannot put themselves in the shoes of the people that might need it. So you need to do a demonstration. That goes without saying also. And the third part is financing. So you have to actually talk with the people one-to-one, each one of them, to be able to convince them, because otherwise it doesn't work either. And to gather kind of ambassadors that are very much going forward with innovation, to be with you and to convince other people from the bottom to the top and top down also. So it's very much a lot of evangelization, a lot of discussions, and also a lot of demos.
Thank you. Maissaa, it was great to have you. Great presentation. I learned a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you.